Welcome in, gamers, ladies, gentlemen. It is time for some NECC finals. Your Division 6 matchup between Mississippi State and Cumberland Phoenix. I am Dancing Buffalo. I am here with MrMaan. And MrMaan, I'm excited to be here. It's the finals. We've got a best of 7, and this could be, we got to lock in for this one. It's going to be a fun one.
Yep, and I'm part of MSU White, for Overwatch at least, and it's been an absolute blessing to see this team perform so well in the NECC. Just in the division in general, I'm pretty sure it was 8-1. The only team they lost to in their actual season was just Cumberland Phoenix, which they are playing right now for the #1 position.
So a little bit of a grudge match for Mississippi State. Cumberland Phoenix undefeated in their divisional play. And for both of these teams, every win that they've had this season has been a sweep. So we're not going best of 5s. This is the finals. We're stretching it out to a best of 7. And you touched on it. Cumberland took the 3-0 over Mississippi State earlier in the season, but I think Panda Kai is going to have this Mississippi State roster ready for a revenge match.
That's definitely true, and we have those one tricks on standby, both Ty and Ajax, meaning Torb and Juno, respectively. You don't see a Torb in many of these matchups, but that turret can do so much damage super easily.
Can be a lot of cheeky damage if you can get it out of sight, but as long as it has the sight line to chip away at the enemies, it can do a lot of damage especially if it is not taken care of. And then if too much focus is turned onto that turret, then you're just leaving yourself wide open to be attacked from Torb himself or the rest of that Mississippi State roster. But we don't have all of our map picks and bans. We do know that map 1 is going to be in the Antarctic Peninsula. So one of the newer maps that came out with Overwatch 2 hasn't been in the game since Overwatch 1. Tell me a little bit about what you think we can see here going into map 1.
Honestly,
I'm actually
so,
hearing now from our producer that it may not be the Antarctic Peninsula. So smear it on my face. I'm wrong. That's the first mistake. Everyone gets a mulligan. Everybody gets one. So that's my
however,
one. We're gonna be clean for the rest of the way through. Never mind. I'm just now hearing that it is Antarctic. It's all for the memes here
yeah,
this evening. The players want to. It's mind games at the end of the day. The first battle is never on the battlefield. It's all mental warfare. It just happens to be that I suppose that I'm the target of the mental warfare right now.
yeah. So the thing is, with the Antarctic Peninsula, it's actually my least favorite map in this game.
Why
However,
is that? You got to elaborate if you're going
so
to come with
I'm
that
a
strong.
I'm a Kiriko Ana player, and with that, it's really hard to get those off angles as Kiriko because there's only so much high ground you could take. And with an Ana, you want to have all those as long angles as possible, and you're forced to play a little bit closer than you usually want to.
And this is a very tight map. There are a lot of corners, especially around the point that these teams are going to try to be capturing. But with this being a capture map, this isn't the only map mode we're going to see. With it being a best of 7, we're going to see a variety of map modes. We're not going to know each map until the current map is finished because loser will decide next map. I think that's an interesting take. I like it. It could help push this matchup further into that map 4 and 5 and 6 and maybe even 7 if we're lucky. But going back to Mississippi State here, I feel like I need to shed a light on Panda Kai. He's the only senior on this roster, a 4-year player. He's been a captain for a number of years and playing that tank role. Like, what do you think it means to him as a 4th-year player, as the captain, as that tank role, trying to bring his team, making it to the finals here, and playing against the only team that has beaten them this season?
So I know since he has been here for the last 4 years, he's gone through multiple players, multiple different rosters, some better, some worse. But it is his job to have this team at their peak performance levels and whatever that peak just team comp in general is. And since it is Antarctic Peninsula and Shiniwaz is a Kiriko player, we might actually see a brig here. Not to start off with, but maybe later in the round, if he realizes that maybe Kiriko is just not working out as she should. Um,
And as you touched on, Ajax on that Juno and Ty on that Torb. Dark being the hit scan player for Mississippi State, starting on cast. And it looks like Panda Kai is going to be coming out onto the Devo. He's definitely known for his Wrecking Ball and then more recently the Junker Queen, but meta's changed a little bit here recently. Diva gonna be the start here and into the Orisa. The counter pick is probably, as we see, favored by Mississippi State. This initial team fight, the point doesn't unlock for another 10 seconds, but Pingu already goes down, and this is an early snowball opportunity for Mississippi State.
we see some excellent poke damage from Panakai here. We see that they're trying to, Cumberland's trying to group back up on the high ground, but Orisa does jump down. However, Sheen is coming back from spawn.
Yeah, Orisa holding W there, forcing Mississippi State off the point. We saw the play. They got the Torbjorn turret down, and Diva was just trying to body block for that turret for the chip damage. But
Panakai
TVD
does
on
go
the
down.
cast for Cumberland takes down 2, takes down the Torb turret for good measure. And 12% is all Mississippi State could muster after that initial point cap.
We see
Now
them.
waiting on the regroup here. And now that Diva is back, you have to pick your timing. You have to be careful here. Diva dove in all by themselves. Tywin trying to play around the turret, but not wanting the turret to go down. Takes a Orisa javelin,
The poke
but
damage is
doesn't go
massive.
down for a lot of poke damage done onto Orisa. We see the Curie ult coming through, that attack speed increase as well as the movement increase. The Cass ult, High Noon coming through, trying to take down the Diva, but not finding anything. And that Torb turret, like you said, causing a lot of problems.
Wow.
But the Death Blossom from
Reflex.
Reflex comes through, takes down 3, and maintains point control for Cumberland.
That was one insane play. He took an absolutely devious angle off that Kiriko ult right after it, and as soon as it was over, he just jumped down and pressed Q. It's as simple as that.
And Reaper has 2 different movement abilities. You have the teleport and then the ghost walk, so to speak. And
Here's the surge.
Pingu not wasting any time on the Orisa ult either. Dark was the target and goes down. Both DPS for Mississippi State goes down. Sheen falls. Pandakai had swapped to Zarya, but the bubble's not doing it. And now only 10% left before Cumberland is going to take this first point of map 1.
Maybe if Ajax can get that last speed ring in. Oh, we see a ball swap. This is actually
Pandakai's bread and butter for a little bit. Does get the overtime using the overshield from Wrecking Ball, but the overtime touch hit once, not able to make it back, and 100% to 12. Mississippi State takes that first, got on the point first, captured it, but once Cumberland took it back, it was a great rotation of ults as they came online, and Mississippi State just could not find the answer on the first point.
unfortunately not a very long hold, but we do see here that Sheen has now switched to break, like I anticipated. Panic action on Ram, that's not something you see very often. I've mostly seen just a Diva and the Junker Queen this season.
Yeah, Ramatra having that second form, that Nemesis form, maybe trying something here. If you're an Arcane fan, you could say Ramatra likes to switch between Victor and Vi. You're either going to shoot with the staff or you got the punches. And when you're in that Nemesis form, the hands are rated E for everyone. But it looks like high ground is the fight off the start. Pingu burning low, gets down to half HP.
However, Dark gets that
is
pick.
able to get the opening pick onto the brig, and with one support down, Cumberland is going to have to fall back yet again on this first team fight. Pandakai with the second onto Dark, and that is a huge pick to keep the stagger going against Cumberland. They weren't able to get that second pick on map 1. They do solidify the point cap for Mississippi State. This happened last time. Now they're going to have to mount that defense. And we were talking before the stream started, the Malka comp is now a thing. Malka runs in and melts, but does not die. And the DPS for Cumberland follow pursuit, takedown 2 from Mississippi State. Still have possession of that point for the moment. Panda Kai full HP, and Ajax on that Juno able to take down Reaper as well. So Mississippi State withhold the first barrage from Cumberland, and that percentage keeps ticking up a third of the way there.
Honestly, see here, unfortunately, the supports for Cumberland did go down very quickly, especially that Brig, and that Malgo was just not be able to heal it enough, so it forced them to back off.
Yeah, Pingu, it looks like he likes to dive with the Malgo, which you're able to do, but Mississippi State doing a great job as soon as Pingu jumps in, immediately focusing. We do see the Ramatra ult come through, but not able to heal through the damage of Cumberland. Teammates deciding to back off as well, trying to play their life. Pingu stopped by the turret for a moment, and as the kills come through, we do see one trade. Ajax once again taking down Reflex and the Reaper, but point cap has swapped to Cumberland's possession. 63 is what Mississippi State was able to make it to, and now that the Ramatra ult is gone, the Diva pick comes through to counter the Malga, and Mississippi State not worried about the point right now. Full W key aggression. We see that Juno ult come through as well, but no kills coming through from Mississippi State. They do, however, create enough space to get the point capture back. And now, with Diva having that right click, you're not able to shoot through that defense matrix, and the kills are coming through from Mississippi State. They're at 75% and climbing. Now, for Cumberland, you do have 2 ultimates online. The Death Blossom was really huge on map 1. The Brig Rally can also be really big, especially with a tank like Malga. But if you look for Mississippi State, as long as Torb can stay alive, that could be a huge deterrent, keeping them off the point. They've only got a few seconds left, 95% and counting. The Stormbreaker play comes through for Cumberland, and Mississippi State gives up the point at 99%. We hear the Malga ult, but not able to find anything. Reflex takes down the turret, but nothing else. And Pingu fighting his demons here, not finding any of Mississippi State, but Dart does eventually go down, and TVD follows up as well. But Panda Kai, the captain and senior, takes down both DPS on his own. Is a one-man wrecking crew, and he's not even playing ball. That's a third for Panda Kai, able to keep his Juno alive for the moment before Pingo takes him down. It's a 1v2. The rally comes through to keep Malga nice and healthy, but the DPS for Mississippi State have made it back. But while all of this has happened, Cumberland has made it up to 70%. A huge hack onto Diva gets him out of mech, and the kills are now coming through for TVD, who finds 3 of his own.
Going into this last fight here, we see the only ult that Mississippi State has is Diva Bomb. However, I do think that Ajax could very well build that ult really fast if they do form off of some heals.
There is the Cumberland Juno ult. It's going to be really hard for Mississippi State to get through. Panda Kai just had to get to the point to contest. The Diva Bomb comes through. TVD tanks it. Panda Kai is able to get back into mech before the entire team is trapped by Malga. The combination of the Cage and Death Blossom may just be enough, and that is map 1 goes the way of Cumberland. And we saw a better defense from Mississippi State there, but in the end, those ultimates for Cumberland came through and was able to bring map 1 in their favor.
That Reaper is absolutely devious with his positioning. Every ult he's used has had some type of value, whether that's dispositioning MSU or just getting that 4-piece, just in general.
And we did see it was a 2-point map. The first map of that map 1, if that makes sense, the first point of that map 1, so to speak, was a little more one-sided than the second. I think we saw a lot better from the Mississippi State side of things on that second point. Panda Kai playing the Diva was able to counter the Orisa, was able to counter the Malga. The Ramatra obviously had a lot of promise at the beginning of that map. I don't really know. I'd like to pose you a question. If you're in the call with Mississippi State right now, who or what are you looking towards to be that X factor to get them over the hurdle to be able to take one off of Cumberland.
I honestly would try to turn on that Reaper. I know it's a lot of it takes a lot of power to really just get everybody behind, and that's honestly, it's kind of like a tracer player. Your goal as a tracer player is to just draw attention, and that's what that Reaper would be doing. He's just much stronger, so maybe even Panikai might even need to turn towards Reaper.
Yeah, definitely need to keep an eye on Reflex. Those blossoms were instrumental to securing both points of that map one. It looks like we're going to be going towards an escort map here. Looks like they're going to be banning out Dorado. We'll have to see what the final option is selected. It should be Mississippi State's map pick since they did lose that map one. And you said you wanted to focus the Reaper. Are you still confident in the Mississippi State hero selections going into an escort map?
I do definitely think what could be a little bit better here is maybe a dive, so it would force that Reaper to play closer to their team. In return, they might be able to just pick them off immediately as a first pick. And but however, I have seen the Juno picks, the Sojourn picks, just any picks really, that'll just give them the upper hand in that fight.
Well, it looks like we called it. It was an escort map. Circuit Royale is what Mississippi State has decided to play. And we saw the cast initially from Dark. We saw the Sojourn get some value as well. And on Cumberland side, we saw the Reaper. The Sombra there at the end was a little annoying. I think a little bit of a pest, which is what a lot of Sombra players are, especially for Panda Kai on that Diva. The hack to stop any of your cooldowns coming through and any of your abilities from being used. And then Panda Kai, even with that Diva Bomb there at the end, only able to find one, does get back into mech. But again, that Malga ult into the Death Blossom was just a little too much for Mississippi State to overcome, to maintain that position on the point, to continue that overtime. And as soon as these players are ready, we will get you guys back into the action here. That's map one. And like we said at the top, this is a best of 7. So Mississippi State down 0-1 so far, but far from being out of this fight.
I'm 100% prepared to see a Sigma on this map. Circuit's a absolute haven for Sigma. Maybe actually, we might even see a Widowmaker from Dark, since it is a very long range map, especially that first objective and even the second one, really.
It's a long range map, and as you close in on that first checkpoint, the high ground that the defensive team is able to take up to try to stop that final tick into that checkpoint could be monumental, whether it be a Widowmaker, like you said, or Sigma being able to place that shield wherever they want to place it can also be a huge factor for Mississippi State or Cumberland if anyone chooses to play the man with the toes out.
We do see that Mississippi State's on attack first, and we do see that Widowmaker. And we also see a BAP, which is actually really nice. Due to his recent buffs, we've gotten the recoil on that 3-burst AR just nerfed completely. His gun's absolute laser beam.
And adds a little bit more hit scan, a little bit more DPS for that Mississippi State side, but we're also seeing a couple of mirror picks here. You had touched on the Sigma, and we see Pingu and Panda Kai having the same opinion. You touched on Sheen playing the BAP, but Vanderai picked up BAP as well. And we are going to see some Widow counters, but Cumberland going the extra mile, and also Reflex putting down the Reaper and picking up the bow with Hanzo. So Dark is going to have to be very careful playing against 2 snipers here But with both DPS being snipers, that should open up a little bit of room for Mississippi State to get some early push, and we do see it coming through. Panda Kai playing a little bit on his own, but his main goal is pressure out those tanks and that Zenyatta, and has done so effectively. Took the high ground from Cumberland, and already almost 40 meters push from Mississippi State here early.
We see Hanzo getting some excellent poke damage here from Reflex. Honestly, the double sniper combo is definitely interesting. It's not something you see every day, but in most cases it does work, especially these long-range maps like Circle Royale.
It's a lot of damage output. We did see the lamp from BAP already used, so that's a long cooldown that they're going to have to play behind, and using that Zenyatta as well, that Discord orb, is going to halter a decent amount of healing. We do see Panda Kai going back up onto that high ground with the rest of the team here, letting that shield regroup a little bit, but Cumberland just as quickly taking the high ground on their side. They're willing to take this fight here. Shinawaz does have the window if he chooses to use it, but with the entire team, the Widow ult used, Dragon used, as well as the Sigma ult.
Wow.
They threw everything at Mississippi State, and it was enough for a team wipe. I'm not sure if 3 ults were needed, but 3 ults were used. And now you still see Cumberland still has window. They still have Zenyatta's ultimate as well for the sustain. And for Mississippi State, Panda Kai has Sigma ult as well. We do have window. You do have Juno ult, but neither damage ultimate has come online yet, not being able to find the DPS counters for Cumberland and make the most of it, which you can't really blame him, as we see Panda Kai takes down Widow on his own, immediately ults to follow, but the Zenyatta ult to counter. Everyone's healthy for the moment. The Juno ult comes through to keep Mississippi State healthy as well. Counter windows coming through. Lots of healing and lots of damage, but Panda Kai, he's the senior, he's the captain, getting kills, takes down both snipers for Cumberland, and it looks like the push is continuing towards this first checkpoint.
I can see that Cumberland's Widow is taking some nice angles on high ground, but unfortunately, it's just no difference. They're just able to push right back into that position they were just in.
Yeah, the high ground for TVD is finding a lot of value, and then if you're focusing on the snipers, Zenyatta, Dom 530 is also making their presence felt. Lots of eliminations so far. The Discord orb sitting on Panda Kai as soon as he turns corners, as soon as he's getting shot. We do see Dark popping the Widow ult as well, so now Mississippi State should not have any surprises coming their way. An aggressive peek from Dark does get a shot on to Reflex, but not able to find the kill. And Panda Kai, ever the aggressor, trying to create space for his team. Tywin not quite able to get out of the ultimate of Sigma, and the lamp has to be used to keep him healthy as well. No one from Mississippi State has fallen yet, and as I say that, Ajax does go down. Mississippi State not giving up this fight yet, but now that Dark has fallen, it looks like the retreat is starting to be called. At least try to gather some space back around the corner. Panda Kai a little out of position away, and now Ajax swapped to the Lucio a little too late, not able to hit that first checkpoint. Does get 86 meters, but a fairly tall task for Mississippi State on the defensive side here.
It doesn't look so great for Mississippi State in this matchup, simply because they didn't even get the first checkpoint on this map, and Cumberland is gonna be able to take it, it looks like. However, I do think that that Zenyatta pick was very helpful to Cumberland, simply because they can negate 2 ultimates on that team, or 3 really, whether it's the Flux, the Window, or even the Gray. It definitely leads some good counters to that team.
And as we see at least the early picks of both teams here, if you're Cumberland, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The same 5 we saw on the defensive side, going to be playing that double sniper with a Zenyatta on the offensive side. And for Mississippi State, they're doing the same thing, stepping out onto the defense with what they came out with on the offense. We'll have to see if they have any cheeky angles to try to hold this defense, see if Dart can maybe get an opening pick to stall maybe 10 or 15 seconds of Cumberland here. And as the clock counts down, it doesn't look like there's going to be an initial hold on the first corner, but Mississippi State wanting to focus that high ground, playing for a more long-term defense, so to speak, than your off that first corner, off that first contact. The immediate Discord orb onto Panda Kai and down to half HP. Not really anywhere to hide around this staircase. You peek one way, you have a Hanzo. You peek another, and there's a Widowmaker. You have to keep the shield up, but it's immediately burned down. Staying on the high ground for the moment, trying to keep this Baptiste from completely taking it away, but that Sigma shield is limiting what Panda Kai is able to do. And as Panda Kai goes down, Dark does get the counter pick onto TVD, but Reflex takes down Tywin, and the cart is continuing to roll. The snowball is coming through, and it looks like Mississippi State, Panda Kai swapped over to that ball. They'll have one contest here if they choose to. Here comes the boop and the slam. But with that Discord orb there, even with the overshield, Wrecking Ball is just absolutely melted, and Mississippi State is now flooding onto the point, trying to play that contest. Dark has switched over to the Tracer, a little more mobility, getting up close, but dashes away from the point. And in a very quick fashion, it is now 2-0 Cumberland.
I did like how Joe Panda Kai went ball there, but however, that Discord orb is so potent to ball, especially from that circle hitbox that it's very easy to hit.
Yeah, the Discord orb doing a lot of unsung heroism, in my opinion, on that second map. Zenyatta is definitely a hit or miss support character. You're normally trading off a little bit of healing for a little bit of extra damage and that Discord orb, where as long as your teammates are coordinated and focusing the discorded target, they are absolutely melted most of the time, and that is what we saw there. Now, Mississippi State, you lose map 1.1, you play a closer point 2 and then fall, and then a pretty convincing victory on map 2 for Cumberland. Now, you're down 0-2, you get that map pick. What are you, if you're Mississippi State right now, what are the comms like? What are you trying to say to the team going into this third map?
As Joe Panda Kai, he's a man of many wonders, but honestly, I would be saying just try to take out those DPS first, because they're doing so much damage to your backline and frontline.
Well, we've played 2 of this best of 7, but we can't give you all the goods here early. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have map 3 here in this NECC Finals Division 6. And we are back. Thank you for holding on through that break with us. And as we see, it's going to be a push map, and not just a push map, but one of the newest maps and push maps in the game. MrMaan, tell us a little about it.
So this is Runasapi. In my opinion, this is a very pretty map with tons of flank angles, so we're definitely going to see a Reaper, maybe even a Tracer from Dark. However, this is more of a mid-map in my opinion. My favorite in push is Coliseum, but we do see a Mercy coming out, Mercy and Roadhog, which is something you definitely don't see very often as a comp for anything really. Cumberland's going to be interested to see how this goes, really.
Yeah, I'm also scratching my head at the Mercy Hog pick. Four-way of Mississippi State, Pandakai coming back out on that Devo. We do see Pingu swap back to the Orisa. But as I was saying, Pandakai on the Diva, nothing new there. Dark on that Tracer, as you predicted. Going to be trying to find some of those cheeky angles, getting behind this Cumberland team. And it'll really come down to, I'm agreeing with you, it's going to be how much value can the Reaper and the Tracer find behind their respective teams. Dark getting headshot by Cassidy there, having to burn the recall and back away at one shot, but the auto aim from Dom takes down Dark before he can get around the corner. And with one man down, Mississippi State is going to have to give up that initial push with our big robot friend. And now with Pingu on that Orisa, between the Javelin, the Immortality, and the Spin, there's a lot of sustain for the big metal horse lady, and a lot of space can be taken. But it doesn't look like Cumberland is pushing up that quickly. Great vision from Pandakai to make sure that Reflex isn't able to do anything too cheeky, but immediately full healed and hindered. But no kills coming through for either team here. The first checkpoint has been reached. That's going to be forward spawns for Cumberland, but Mississippi State holding their own here.
There's that Vector. We'll see if how much value can really get.
Pandakai may have dove in a little too quickly, but doesn't go down, able to fly back into that heal to stay alive. Ajax gets the final blow onto Pingu, and Mississippi State able to take control of the robot, get it back to initial spawn, and Dark with a great stagger onto Reflex. That's no flanks coming for Cumberland for the foreseeable future, and this now gives Mississippi State a little bit of time to make some progress on their own side.
We see Reaper is definitely looking to ult here, and also Dark has his high noon. He switched to Cassidy really quickly. We see him lining up for it. He's looking.
There's the combo they were looking for. Pingu pulls everyone in, but Dark doesn't even need the Death Blossom to take down two. The flank was enough. Escapes with his life. But Mississippi State not quite able to peel. Pandakai does go down on a little bit of a stagger as well. Ajax is able to get away, trying to keep Tywin alive as well. And now the regroup's going to have to come through for Mississippi State, but Pingu pushed up very far, making sure every second counts on this push for the robot. Already up to 74, now 75 meters on that push. Sheen does take down the Mirror and Brig, and they're able to take down TBD. The high noon coming through, but falls off the high ground, is blocked by some natural shots, and a great use of that fade from Reaper to avoid the high noon as well. The teleport trying to get away, but Pandakai has the Reaper in his sight. Season 1 shot, not going to push too far. Does have teammates there as well, but not the entire team, as Tywin is having to babysit the robot back towards the initial spawn and forward. Now, counter Juno ult coming through, lots of healing. The high noon, however, is a one-shot. Ajax goes down, but does take down Juno. It's a 4v4. Reflex still holding on to that Death Blossom. Rally comes through from Vandery here. Does trying to solo out Pandakai, it looks like, in Mississippi State. No more ults on the table, and players are starting to fall as Pandakai got separated from his teammates. And now the regroup again, as now the robot is being pushed back towards that Mississippi State spawn. And the progress continues for Cumberland. And as they turn one of the last corners, the Ramatra coming out from Pandakai here, trying to counter the Arista. Another ult comes through. Dark's able to make it out with the slide, but Tywin is not. Ajax also falls to Dom, and Dark does stay alive here. Combination of heroes able to take down Reflex, but TBD takes down the turret, and now Pandakai is trying to hold on for dear life against the Metal Horse. Arissa backing away, back towards that robot, back towards the support. And now Pandakai waiting on cooldowns. The forward-placing shield continuing the robot momentum. This is great to get a little bit of breathing room. And now with the Juno ability as well, not able to find any more picks. Reaper, however, could be looking for the Death Blossom here. Not deciding to go for it yet, and Mississippi State not pushing up too far here, and I think this is a good call. You need to play for a pick here before you try to keep pushing it, or it could just be waiting on the Juno ult, and it comes through, but the High Noon to counter, a great roll into some positioning that's able to take down two. Pingu follows up with a third, and now Cumberland once again in control of the robot and pushing.
We see that they're very close, maybe just one fight for Cumberland, and they win the third match for this game. They're able to make some space though with MSU pushing back. And there's that Vector from Cumberland.
Vector coming out from Cumberland, and the kills coming through as well. Pandakai not quite able to reach that ultimate at 97%. And I don't know if he will have time to get back to the point and use it. Reflex takes down two as well. All of the ults from Cumberland coming through. They want to win it here, but the ult does come through. That is passive damage that is ticking, but no help from the team. Tywin as well gets the Torbjorn ult, but no kills. Nothing coming through. The Martyrdom ult does take down Pingu, but too little too late, and Cumberland once again takes a little bit of early aggression, and they play smart. They lost personnel and was able to fall back and regroup. It was steady pressure and goes up 3-0 here in this best of 7.
I say maybe one or two more matches for Cumberland, and they'll take the victory.
And I like that being a back and forth. I thought we saw some great things from Cumberland. I thought we saw some good things from Mississippi State. But Reflex's Reaper seems to be the X factor every time it is on the playing field. We saw it in map 1. We didn't see it in map 2. But here in map 3, you called it that the angles were there to be taken. Tracer from Dark tried to make use of that. At first, didn't really find what they were looking for. Swapped to the Cass, inevitably swapped to the Sojourn. And it looked like Mississippi State was just reeling, looking for the answer, and they weren't able to find one in time.
I do think, depending on this next map, if it is hybrid, I really hope that Mississippi State picks Kings Row. That is one of my personal favorite maps. I know as Honor, I could just hold that back room right above the objective for the first point, and just really anything. It's a very long-range map. We might see a Dark on Tracer too, really. He could play that little side room and hotel. He could play the sniper up top. It's a very versatile map for really any character.
Kings Row, a staple in most teams' playbook. It's a very standard hybrid map. And I think I agree. I think a comfort pick, a comfort map may be what Mississippi State needs to kind of get their feet under them, gather a little bit of confidence back. And at this point, if you're a Mississippi State fan, you're rooting for that reverse sweep. But before we have the chance to get there, we're going to take one more break because what's a production if not a little bit of, we got to tease you a little bit. So be sure to grab some water, do some stretches, and we will be back in a bit with map 4 of this best of 7.
I'm Will Bratton, president of Mississippi State Esports. MSU Esports is a student-led organization that competes across the country in the fastest-growing competitive scene in the world. Our team is proud to represent this university by being just better, but we can't do it alone. If you want to help MSU Esports continue to grow and continue to win, then donate to our Bulldog Boost campaign today. Hail State!
And welcome back to map 4 of your NECC Division 6 finals. Cumberland Phoenix is currently up 3-0 on Mississippi State Esports, and we're taking it to Suravasa. Flashpoint is going to be map 4. MrMaan, tell me a little bit about this map and what we can expect from Mississippi State here.
So this is one of Mississippi State's, at least Maroon teams, it's one of their strongest maps. I definitely think they're going to be able to have a strong chance here. We actually see Ty on a Bastion, which is a very interesting pick because I've never seen it before. And a Soldier from Dark, which is definitely going to help just get that damage in. I think that's what they're looking for, just damage.
Yeah, the Bastion pick is interesting here. It's a lot of damage, but also you're trading off that mobility for said damage. And of course, they should expect to be going up against the Reaper. The Cass is a safe choice as well. Not going on to the more traditional choke, I would say, through the little window in the 2 doorways. Instead, going all the way around the long way, playing the backside here, and Bandicai Sigma has made a little bit of room onto the point here. They were able to get it up halfway, was Cumberland, before they took it down, but the Arista does nullify a lot of that Bastion damage with that Javelin spin, and then the DPS of TVD and Reflex are able to come through and find 4 of the 5, and it looks like this first point will at least start ticking for Cumberland.
DVD on Cass is absolutely melting through MSU's well, it started off with Juno, so I guess Juno's a kind of a frontline character, honestly, just fighting side by side with the tank, just trying to find that off angle to get some damage in.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about TBD. We've been seeing a lot of reflexes praised, but TBD has done really, really well on that Cass, finding a lot of headshots and a lot of value. Now Dark doing a lot of this long-range poke, trying to charge up that railgun for that right click. The AoE ability, as you see thrown out there, does do a lot of damage, but Orisa W-keying into the entire Mississippi State team, pops the ult and takes down 3, or at least is a part of 3. And once again, Pandakai is able to take down Pingu, but not before the majority of his team is already back in spawn. And it looks like with the 2 team fights that have gone through, point 1 has gone to the way of Cumberland. And if you're unfamiliar with Flashpoint, it is the first to secure 3 points. So Mississippi State still in this, not out of this by any means. But if Cumberland is able to grab 2 more, they will win map 4 and they will win this map. But I believe Mississippi State's going to have something to say about that before all is said and done.
We've seen it once, we've seen it before in other games. You always see and that's a reflex, that's a double DPS ult from reflex and TVD. But as I was saying, we've seen it in Overwatch, we've seen it in Valorant, we've seen it in League. This a reverse sweep is always possible to do.
Yeah, I almost wonder if the double DPS ult from Cumberland there was a little overzealous, over-intensive. I mean, Reflex got 1 with the Blossom, and then TVD gets 2 more with the High Noon.
We see Pandakai making up the space.
Those, and you do take down the Brig. So that's a lot of healing that's not going to come through for Orisa, and then Orisa goes down. Mississippi State does invest the Vector from Juno to secure this first point, takes down Reflex as well.
We're just going to make a little
they just need to establish their defense to hold on to the second point here to keep the tick going.
We see that they only use 1 ult from that fight, which is absolutely amazing. Ajax was the only one that had to use it, and that's all they needed to take that final victory from all those low pushes. Yep, there it is. Let's hope this get some damage. Here's Rally
through, but gets pressured out, doesn't find much. Pandakai's taking his turn now, no kills coming through. Ingu goes down after ulting as well. And the kills are coming great from Mississippi State. Dark has invested the Sojourn ult. So Mississippi State investing the other 4 ults, but maintaining their lead. Excuse me, not lead. Cumberland was able to take back the point for another 20-some-odd%. But Mississippi State's going to have this thing tied up at 60% apiece here, and there's currently no ults on the board. Cumberland getting close to 3. They're going to have Juno here first, Reflex's Blossom, and the High Noon. But if Mississippi State can be smart around these angles, they may be able to take this second point here to get one of their own.
See Doom's ult here.
And I think they're playing this smartly. They hear the Juno ult pop and they just fade back. They get to the 99%. They proc the overtime before Cumberland is able to take it away. Cumberland's still holding on to their 2 DPS ults. They got to get 30%. Mississippi State just needs to stay alive here. They do lose Sheen, but Tywin trades out Pingu, so that's no tank. Vanderai, however, Brig can be a tank of her own, takes down Dark, the flail shot. Reflex finds Tywin as well. Pandakai trying to 1v1 and Artemis TBD with the trade. And now, unfortunately, it looks like Mississippi State just ran out of team members, not able to get that overtime contest. And after a brilliant second point fight, Mississippi State does inevitably lose it, however. So 2-0 on the point here. Cumberland only needing 1 more to take it all, but Mississippi State, Pandakai has the Sigma ult, Sheen's about to have the rally, and you now do have another Bastion ult. So you also take down Pingu, you take down a wasted High Noon as well. Mississippi State taking full advantage of Cumberland. Not really sure what the call was there. and a free point for Mississippi State, and they also burn a really big ult for Cumberland. It does look like the play for TVD was to burn the ult regardless. Looks like Sombra is going to be the play to try to hack the Bastion. So maybe playing for a future point here, trying to give up one. Uses the hack onto Greg. Lamp comes through to try to save the team, but not happening. The Lamp goes down. Pingu also gets Tywin, and the rest of the kills come through for Cumberland. What a team kill there after getting wiped. You get team killed, immediately follow up with your own. You have Reflect, you have Rally and Death Blossom in your back pocket as well. Mississippi State probably has 2 team fights left. Rally coming through early as well. Cumberland not wanting to give Mississippi State any space here. The counter rally comes through. You do see Sigma's ult as well, but Dark popping the high noon takes down Vanderai. A couple of kills coming through for Mississippi State. And even though they had to invest multiple ults there, it looks like they get the best of that team fight.
We're looking for EMP here.
They're going to keep Cumberland below 60, or at least below 70%. I say that. Finally coming through. Took a while to take down Reflex on those cooldowns. But this is still a winnable match for Mississippi State.
They look like they have almost... Well, Cumberland actually has the ult advantage here, especially that Juno ult. Like we've seen it before, that Juno ult can be detrimental to the whole team, and we see it
immediately coming through off the off angle of the team. Mississippi State forced out of the BAP lamp before it goes down. Everyone from Mississippi State is dangerously low. Tywin accidentally falls off the map, but Dark, do not go gentle into that Dark Knight young man, able to take down 2 of his own to keep Mississippi State in it. It's going to take 4 Mississippi State members to try to take down Reflex, but they do get him down. They keep point control, and it looks like on the quick hit, they're going to be able to secure their own. Mississippi State is still in this.
A 2-1 lead. We just need to see Mississippi State take another 2 objectives. And like I said earlier, I think this is their map. We see their performance has been the best it's been all game.
Yeah, Ajax swapping over to the BAP has seen a lot of value. It looks like Cumberland knows that they should be trying to push everyone out of that lamp radius when it does go down, but Mississippi State, they're rolling with it. They're not relying on the lamp to keep them alive. They're winning their trades, and they were able to show off what they're able to do in that last fight. Now, Reaper W keying into the team does have the Blossom, but goes down to Dark. TVD does get the hack on for 1, but no kills coming through for Cumberland yet.
That lamp by Ajax had a little bit of value to it, and that EMP, and everybody's just tumbling down one by one.
Huge EMP for TVD, only gets 2-3 kills of his own, and Dom grabbing a couple as well. But that's another team kill, and the tick keeps coming through for Cumberland. For Mississippi State, once again, you have the rally, you have the Sigma ult, but that Death Blossom is a scary, scary thing to see in that top left corner. And Reflex is going to be looking for the right time to use it.
I think he's just waiting for Sigma to push a little bit too far until he does. And we see it. He got hacked out of his ultimate.
Onto the ult, cancels out the ultimate. Tywin does take down TVD, but Reflex gets one of his own. Panda takes down Reflex. That's no DPS for Cumberland. Ajax able to get Pingu out of mech and gets the kill. And even though they're going to get to 99%, they're not taking point 4, and they are staying alive.
I think if Mississippi State wins this one, we could maybe even see the start of a reverse sweep. As much as we would love to see it, as much as our stream team or whoever's watching. We see the Vector.
Vector coming through. Rally still in the pocket. Reflex takes down Tywin and Dark. There's the rally, and Reflex follows through. That's going to be a team wipe, and that's going to end it. Cumberland Very strong performance throughout. Mississippi State gave it their all. They made it a fight, but in the end, Cumberland comes out on top, continuing their march through this NEC Div 6 season. They've swept
Completely
every match
undefeated.
so far, and when you give them a best of 7, they were still able to do it.
Yep, there it is. Um, we're gonna have an interview actually in a couple minutes, and I think it's gonna be definitely Captain Panic High and maybe even Ajax, who is the team's manager and player. So we'll
Yep.
see them two in here in just a few.
Stick around for that. We will be back in just a few minutes, and we'll have a couple of questions for some of your Mississippi State players. We'll see y'all soon.
I lost sight, feeling broken down. Made a victory, but my heart is drowned. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Where did I go? Since I was a child, been rising from the ashes. Look at me now, scared to even grasp it. I am fighting all of my pain, I won't let it show. But I will roar, my spirit's reborn. The eternal flame, it calls it shaking my core. And it's gonna get loud, can't believe what is not true. How could I ever doubt you? I am here, but I can't forget. I was born to rise.
C-Money going up, passing it to Lunar, and Lunar doesn't even touch it, and C-Money puts it right in the back of the net.
Sees the leg there, but World able to take down Dank Muffin. He switches to the 250. Down he goes. Almost had it, sees it there, does whip one, but goes right back to it. The man's feeling himself.
But there's no time on the bomb. He gets 3. And Split Dynasty here to take us to 9. And oh, the promised land is just a half away.
Contemplating I would do it all again. No take backs, my oldest friend is fear. Whoa, but I will roar, my spirit's reborn. The eternal flame, it calls it shaking my core. And it's gonna get loud, can't believe what is not true. How could I ever doubt you? I am here, but I can't forget. I was born to rise. Oh, 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 but I will soar, my spirit's reborn. The eternal flame calls it shaking my core. And it's gonna get loud, can't believe what is not true. How could I ever doubt you? I am here, but I can't forget. I was born to rise.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sticking around. We've got a post-match interview. We've got Ajax and Panda Kai. And guys, even though that match obviously didn't go the way y'all wanted it to, you played Cumberland earlier in the season. I'm just wondering, was there any type of prep work that went into this matchup before the match tonight? And if so, could you walk us through it?
Well, first thing is that we could just look at VODs of the enemy team, and so right now in Overwatch, there's like the major meta, which is just Maga meta, and it's the guy with too many guns, and he's just really overpowered. And so we kind of don't like that, and trying to play against try and play anything against it. So knowing that they play that comp and they play Orisa and stuff, we kind of started scrimming our own comp with the Diva and stuff. So just practicing a different comp to counter it, pretty much.
And next question. So, really strong performance throughout the season. Don't want to take anything away from y'all. You know, really solid 7-2 fall season here in the NECC. I think, and every win y'all had was by a wide margin. So what kind of gone in? I know we know that we have a couple of one tricks on the roster. So when it comes to those, I'm just curious, when it comes to having like a really strong Juno player and a really strong Tor player, when you're not playing meta comps per se, how does that go into trying to develop your team identity?
It's definitely a lot of hoping and praying that the meta kind of goes towards our favor. Ajax, what about you? How do you make a one trick better?
How do I make one trick better? Well, I mean, the thing is, I play the good one trick right now, so I haven't had to adapt to anything, and Juno
Yeah,
just
like
comfortably
when
fits my
Juno's meta,
playstyle really well.
that's nice. And like they have
Yeah.
a Reaper one trick. He was doing Reaper stuff, and it's like really nice.
He
if
he
you
was
get that
definitely
meta.
doing Reaper things.
Yep. So like when we get Tor meta, you know, next
Yeah.
next season
Next,
we're gonna get
whenever,
Tor buffs,
eventually.
Heck yeah.
and then Tyson's gonna go crazy on that. But maybe not. But and we just have to play around it. And like on the last map, we're just trying new stuff pretty much. We tried out Sigma Bastion because it kind of burns down that tank that's pushing up really aggressively. So the Reaper just flanks, so it's like really annoying. But you know, it's trying different characters, even if it's like not the one trick. But yeah, a little ways going away from it. I guess just working around it though.
And then now that this fall season is over with, looking forward to the spring season, what are some things that you think went well this season? And what are some things that you and the team can improve on looking forward to this next season?
I think we've got some great players, right, Ajax?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I was very
Everyone on the
impressed
team
with
is
seeing
new,
everybody.
right?
Yeah,
But me on
you're the
this
only one
team.
from A team that's
Ajax
new.
was B team last year,
I
but
was B team.
Same
and to
thing with
do this
us.
well with a fully new roster for this semester, people who haven't scrimmed before, freshmen, yikes, on the team.
Yikes,
Uh,
gonna be them.
so I guess getting first semesters out of the way, kind of stuff. Gonna be practicing over winter break. Practicing Marvel Rivals.
Oh,
It kind
that
of
for sure. Yeah,
yeah, it kind of flows into Overwatch,
Yeah.
I guess.
they're pretty similar.
Keep your mind sharp, learn new characters, new abilities, new
Yep,
maps.
yep. And they're changing they're adding a new tank, Hazard, this over like next week, I think, next Tuesday.
Yeah, the 9th.
And I'm trying to just one trick him probably, and we can just have new metas to figure out, and teams can't just like
Man,
play
Panda
bad
Kai,
characters.
Panda Kai with a new one trick.
Yep,
You
yep,
heard
yep.
it here first.
Yep,
We
yep,
may
yep.
not see the Panda Kai wrecking ball that much anymore.
I mean, honestly, I know I've seen my YouTube fair share of YouTube shorts. I've seen the hazard wall on just a map wall, and you get Reaper somebody teleport up to, and you could just get some insane value off that drop.
Yeah, I think yeah, they're adding a lot of new stuff, and I feel like the developers are maybe listening and are going to nerf some of the more overpowered heroes. Because, like we were talking earlier today about how if this meta was different, like earlier in the season when it wasn't this meta, we're 3-0ing every team we play against, and I think it's just a meta shift that we couldn't really adapt to the fullest in this meta. But next semester we should be really good.
Awesome stuff. Well, that's all I have, Mr. Maan. Do you have any final questions?
Not here, but if that's all we're gonna talk about with this interview, Hell State.
Thank you
Hell
guys.
State, look forward to
Thank you.
Marvel Rivals. Ajax, Pandakai, thank y'all for taking the time. Everyone hanging out in Twitch chat, thank y'all for tuning in and watching. This has been your NECC Division 6 Finals. Cumberland does take the 4-0 victory, but this roster is going to come back in the spring ready and rejuvenated. I've been Dancing Buffalo with MrMaan as my co-caster. I hope you'll have a good night. We'll see y'all soon.